What is up, my friends, and welcome to another edition of the XFL Week In Review. I'm your host, Mark Perry, episode 211. And on this week's show, XFL co-owners hit Capitol Hill. We've got that plus some USFL PA CBA talks and how that might give us some clues on some things, plus the latest XFL USFL merger stuff that you have not heard anywhere else. I've got the scoop for you. So without further ado, let's just get into it. So the XFL co-owners engaged in a little Capitol Hill meeting yesterday. They focus military and the XFL merger. So Dwayne Johnson, Danny Garcia held meetings at Capitol Hill with several U.S. senators. Discussions centered around military recruitment and the XFL amidst the potential XFL-USFL merger. The visit was an ongoing commitment to the XFL's growth and also this kind of collaboration with the military. So DJ and XFL chairwoman Danny Garcia, they met at Capitol Hill. Senator John Tester was there, talk better to address the military recruitment issues. So they brought in The Rock to help them. During the visit, Johnson and Garcia engaged in discussions with several senators, including Dick Durbin, Susan Collins, and Lindsey Graham. The central topics revolved around enhancing military recruitment and the future of the XFL. Now, sources tell us that the merger talks between the XFL and USFL and USFL and U.S. government regarding regulatory approval hit a snag, and it's basically over the number of teams. The feeling that I'm hearing is that the XFL, USFL want to keep it lean at 8 teams, but the government kind of wants to have more teams, between 12 and even 14 teams, though, because of all of the layoffs that would happen. So that seems to be, from what I'm hearing, is where the snag is coming as far as the back and forth with the USFL, XFL entity and the U.S. government. Now, of course, this isn't a surprise. Garcia did tease the trip last week that she was in L.A. and then in D.C., and then now she will be back at Florida now, with going back to New York and then New Jersey, then back to Florida. So who knows what's going on with the merger talks from that. There was just The Rock taking pictures. But again, one of the things was the military recruitment thing. And of course, the XFL, because here's Frank Thorpe, the fifth, with his tweet when these pictures came out, meeting arranged by Senator Tester. But he says here, senators about XFL and military recruitment. So whatever that means, whatever they have plans. We have Chuck Schumer meeting with The Rock as well. But basically what we're hearing is that's kind of, there's been a snag when it comes to the number of teams. Also hearing that the XFL, if they do make an announcement, that their teams will probably not be part of it. So if we do get an announcement anytime soon, which now the timeline is looking like it's not, but if we do, it would be the league name and kind of the upper level staff, where the teams would still be on hold because they're trying to figure out what's going on there. So that's kind of the latest that we have with this kind of XFL merger talk. But again, everything is fluid. You saw, this was a week old when Danny Garcia had posted this, that for a while this planned trip to DC was going to happen. Hopefully it was able to spur this final merger approval. We also saw what Chuck Schumer says, hey, you're welcome. So maybe Chuck Schumer did help. I would hate to see the U.S. government forcing The Rock to do some kind of military recruitment in exchange for merging the XFL and USFL. But it also is kind of good for XFL. I don't think that's the case. You assume not. But also, it's good to see that The Rock and Danny Garcia are in Capitol Hill and talking about the XFL. There was some kind of worry that maybe The Rock and Danny Garcia would be out. Clearly, they're in. So that is a good sign. Let us know what you think in the comments about this little Capitol Hill meeting. So today, November 16th, the USFL PA kicks off its CBA Talks. And this is interesting because it could give us some clues into what is kind of going on behind the scenes. So the USFL Players Association begins the collective bargaining agreement reopener today, November 16th. Understanding the process, so explain the differences. What we're going to do is explain what this whole thing is all about. So this marks a significant step in the evolution of the league. And of course, the union kind of showed this kind of timeline that they have. And they said November 16th, USFL bargaining and CBA reopener. So the CBA reopener is a process where both the Players Association and the league revisit the terms of their existing agreement. This is an opportunity to negotiate changes that can include player salaries, benefits, working conditions, those kind of things, and other aspects of the whole environment with the USFL. Clearly, as part of this discussion has to be what is going on with the XFL. Now, remember, there was rumblings about the XFL players wanting to be part of the NFL Players Association. So that was kind of a thing that was going on too that could impact this. I don't know. So anyway, one of the most intriguing aspects of this negotiation is gaining some insight into the merger. They have to discuss what the progress is, how the merger might influence player contracts, league operations, the structure of the league. So we assume that we're going to might get some leaked information basically from players who attend these meetings to kind of find out what is going on. So that is the latest when it comes to the USFL Players Association. And we know that because there is a USFL Players Association has kind of impacted the merger of the leagues, and that is where the government's concern is. And then because, it's just very complicated stuff. And the fact that it's, November 16th, and if they even really think that they're going to start playing in mid-February with, no draft, no teams. I mean, you're going right into Black Friday with no merch sales. I don't know, my friends. It's just kind of a mess. I don't know. I personally, I wouldn't be surprised. And again, this is not a rumor. This is just my personal thing. It wouldn't shock me none the least that they punt it for a year. I mean, they did it with the CFL, especially if this merger stuff can't get resolved. Hopefully The Rock and Danny Garcia being in the Capitol Hill can kind of finish this thing. And we'll see what kind of partners are in the works. But there you have it. Maybe because of this CBA talks, we could get some XFL news. And USFL merger news, I should say. Are you a fan of the XFL, USFL, and CFL football? Get ready to embrace your inner general manager with NewsHubFantasy.com's fantasy football experience. NewsHubFantasy.com offers you an unparalleled fantasy football platform bringing together fans of the XFL, USFL, and CFL football leagues. Compete in season-long fantasy with leagues up to 6 players. You can create your own for friends, or you can join an existing league. Draft your ideal team with our 7 active roster spots, including a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, flex, tight end, kicker, plus 3 bench spots. Show off your football knowledge and strategy and dominate your league. Our user-friendly interface makes it easy to manage with your team and get the latest news in your XFL or USFL or CFL leagues on the go. Plus, News Hub Fantasy offers mock drafts, pick'em games, and so much more all season long. So don't miss out on the action. Sign up now at newshubfantasy.com and become the ultimate football fantasy manager. All right, we're back. The Rock appeared on the Joe Rogan Experience. I know people listen to it. I didn't listen to it. Curious if he mentions anything about the XFL or USFL. I mean, I guess maybe he can't because of the ongoing merger talk. But then again, if you want to take a listen to it, The Rock was on Joe Rogan. Also, Vince McMahon has settled his $11 million suit with Oliver Luck. So all of that seems to be officially wrapped. Oliver Luck, the former, of course, who's the former head of the XFL, they recently resolved their $11.1 million legal dispute that arose from allegations of poor leadership, mismanagement, and all this kind of stuff. We've kind of gone to this at length. So basically, this is all kind of a closed deal and officially over. The settlement was reached on September 14th, effectively resolved all claims between McMahon and Luck, as well as Hurwitz and Luck, and between Luck and McMahon. and was dismissing them with prejudice and without fees or cost to any party. So, and we all know that after the COVID stuff happened, and I don't think Luck wanted to. Vince didn't want to pay Luck, so he accused them of all different stuff. They kind of went back and forth, and then we all know kind of where that comes down. One of the interesting things, and I'll just throw it out here just for fun. Did you see that Vince McMahon, who recently merged the WWE with Ultimate Fight UFC's parent company, now TKO Group Holdings, recently sold $700 million worth of shares? I mean, I when I saw that, I was like, well, that's kind of interesting. So I guess some of it's to kind of pay Oliver Luck to be done with that. But that would be a nice chunk of change to set aside to help a football league, wouldn't it? I mean, I was just saying, I was like, maybe he's working on a new kitchen, or maybe that's no chance in hell. I don't know. It was just kind of an interesting thing. Could you imagine Vince McMahon returning to the XFL to kind of finish what he started? Maybe, maybe not. Most likely, probably not. I've not heard his name anywhere, but I mean, the connections that he has with Fox and everything else, um, you know, you never know. You never know, my friends. You never know. Also, New Orleans Breakers, an historic, they have this article came out from NOLA.com that the Jefferson Parish Council has committed $15 million to refurbish a venue called Shrine on Airlines. It's a major revamp. And they mentioned that it could be the home of the USFL's New Orleans Breakers once the project is completed in 2025. So, basically, Kyle France, the board chair of the Louisiana Stadium and Exposition Districts, has mentioned ongoing discussions with the USFL about locating a team at the Shrine. So there you go. But of course, we still have the USFL, XFL merger talks, all those kind of things. But it's an interesting development, as maybe there's I mean, that basically both sides are just business as usual, doing their thing. And then this merger thing is kind of happening behind the scenes, but everybody knows it. So I don't know. I mean, could this be something where they bench the Breakers until they can get a stadium? I mean, who knows? We've seen all different kinds of stuff. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I thought that was an interesting thing that is out there. And finally, PJ Walker is going to be the backup. So apparently, what's his name? The one that got in trouble all the time, that his name escapes me. He is out for the season. Deshaun Watson. He's undergoing season-ending shoulder surgery, and now they're going to start Dorian Thompson-Robinson at quarterback versus the Steelers, and PJ Walker will be the backup. Not really sure why. Why would you PJ Walker be your backup, but now your guy is out for the season? Maybe they want to see what this guy has. We'll just have to find out. But again, that's kind of still XFL players. PJ Walker played with the Panthers, the Carolina Panthers, for a couple seasons, and now he's the backup in Cleveland. And with Deshaun Watson out for the season, and he didn't really look that great to begin with, even though they did beat the Ravens. We will see if he maybe gets a shot during the season. And finally, we got an emailer. Again, you can always email podcast at XFL News Hub if you got anything to say. Steve says, I love the reports. I'm looking forward to the next one. Do you know anything about reports that the New Jersey Generals are not part of the merger, but the New York metropolitan area will have a team, with the Orlando Guardians moving back to the area to become the New York Guardians, with the possibility of them playing out at Shai Stadium at Rutgers? Steve, I have not heard any of that things. If anything that I've heard, again, we don't know, they definitely want to have a team in New Jersey, but it's expensive. If anything, what I've heard was that Philadelphia seemed to be a possible place that might have its own home stadium. I think Orlando is going to stay. That's Danny Garcia's team. And if she's involved, I mean, especially if you've seen what's going on with potential Camping World, where they're getting upgrades, I think that's Orlando Guardians, I think, is a good spot. We went to a Orlando Guardians game, and it was fun. Moving them back to New York, that would kind of be surprising. I have not heard any of that. Please, that it was just somebody emailing me that I'm reading you. It's not a rumor, blah, 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 blah. There's just somebody that said this. So we'll just kind of leave it there, but I'm answering the question. All right, my friends, that's it for this week's show. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. If any kind of news breaks, we'll have you. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. We always appreciate it. Super huge thanks to everybody who pushed out our video last week. It hit over 10,000 views, which was very cool. And I'm glad, make sure you subscribe, like the channel. And again, what we're doing here, it's been a wait and see for me. I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens, and we'll feel things out. And then hopefully we get some big news coming soon. And then that's going to kind of figure out the trajectory as we move forward. Do we come up with a new site? Do we do something else? We're waiting just like you are, so we can figure out what we want to do with our life. I've been chasing this thing since 2018. I'm kind of getting a little tired. I just want a league to just play and be done with it. I'm hoping that this is the last bastion of doing this kind of stuff, but we'll just have to wait and see. All right, that's it, my friends. God bless as always, and I will see you all later.